Welcome back to another episode of Minecraft. I'm Jade, and in today's episode, we're standing up here on this hill overlooking our spawn lake. And if you look over there, you can see the remains of the ruined temple that we built back in episode 5. Today we're up on this hill overlooking the ancient temple because we're going to be building something up here this episode. So we've already built one castle in this world. It was a real small castle, only a tower and 2 buildings. But today, we're going to build another castle. And it's going to be at least 10 times the size of the last one. It's going to take up the entirety of the top of this hill right here. And of course, we're going to have to give it backstory, history, and explain why it's special in our world. We've got a lot of building to do this episode. This will probably be the most building that we do in a single video in this series to date. So, I'm just going to go ahead and get started building the castle. So, let's go. Alright, so we've built up a part of the castle here that we can take a look at. So far we've built 4 towers, 3 of similar size, and then 1 large tower in the back there. And I think the tall tower is going to be the centerpiece of this castle. You can see where it's fallen over or fallen in on itself over time. You'll be able to see it from down in our spawn lake down here. You can look up and see the focal point of the ruined castle on the hill. So I'm liking how it's turned out. It's very gray so far. Kind of like the other castle that we made already. But I think it makes a lot of sense for this one because it's in a ruined state. So over time, the colors and the ornate details have fallen away, just leaving the bare bones structure. It doesn't have an interior at the moment, but we are definitely going to add an interior in here. I've gone ahead and marked out spots for where a ceiling will be, where floor, ceiling, floor. Obviously the top layer will not have a roof on it, but these lower layers will be filled. It is a ruined castle, but that doesn't mean that that nobody's living here. There is a group of people that's going to be living here in our lore, and we'll talk about that later in the episode. If you have a keen eye, you may have caught during the time lapse how I was building. So I was going layer by layer, going up, which makes for a cool time lapse, but I was doing that because I used a schematic for this build. So I utilized the Lightmatica mod. I took the time to go in a creative world and build out the entire castle, plan it out, and build it up. And I did that because I was using this specific gradient on the textures of the blocks. And it's a lot easier to work with a gradient when you're in creative mode because you can hover, you can really quickly replace a block if you need to and work out the perfect patterns in the walls and stuff. This is the gradient that we decided to use down here. So starting with the deep slate bricks, moving on to cobbled deep slate, regular deep slate, tough bricks, regular tough, mossy stone bricks, and then just regular stone. So I was really liking how this all came together in the actual walls and stuff. Originally I didn't have this mossy stone brick. I just went directly from tough to stone. But I found that the mossy stone brick It kind of stands out when it's sitting right here, but when you get from a distance, it's really the perfect divide between the tuff and the stone. Kind of has like a greenish hue of the tuff meets the lighter gray hue of the just the regular stone. So that worked out well. This part of the castle that we've built so far is going to be like the inner keep of the castle. So this is where the lord or the king used to keep his area. And then there will be an outer wall as well. There'll be like a gate somewhere over here. So they'd have to, if someone was attacking the castle, they would have had to have broken through that gate, then come up and broken through this gate as well. This is a very defensible castle. It's more for function than it is for looks, and it was back when it was not in a state of ruin. We're going to go ahead and finish up the rest of this castle, or as much as I can. It's going to be a big time lapse coming ahead of us, and during it, we're going to talk some more about the lore of the world. Some of this lore will tie into the background of this castle and kind of the castle's history as well. So let's get started. Way back in episode 5 of this series, we started talking about lore and building up our world's history. We broke the world's history into 5 ages: the Spawn Age, the Age of Crafters, the Age of the Ancient Builders, the Age of Ruin, and finally, the Respawn Age. The last time we talked about lore, we looked at the fall of the Ancient Builders and how our world was plunged into the Age of Ruin. During the Age of Ruin, entire civilizations built by the Ancient Builders crumbled. Cities, fortresses, and vast monuments were abandoned as human population dwindled. The undead plague continued to ravage human settlements, reanimating the dead as zombies and further decimating the population. The hordes of undead turned thriving cities into ghost towns, forcing any survivors into the wilderness or small hidden enclaves. The Endermen, known for their ability to teleport, were notorious for abducting human children, snatching them from their cradles and disappearing without a trace. Human communities already struggling with the plague lived in constant fear. As a result of these ongoing calamities, the technological and magical advancements of the ancient builders were all but lost. The knowledge of netherite tools, enchanted weapons, and portal magic faded into obscurity. Survivors focused on basic survival, abandoning their once great cities and living in small, isolated groups. Human society regressed, and much of the grandeur and knowledge of the previous age fell into ruin and myth. Hope for humanity all but faded as centuries of darkness passed by. But a turning point in human history emerged with the rise of a man named Stephen. Stephen, who had discovered fragments of the lost magical knowledge of the ancient builders, alongside a small group of followers, set out on a daring mission to the end. Together they would defeat the Ender Dragon, shattering the Enderman's hive mind. This victory was the first major success for humanity in centuries, marking the beginning of a slow recovery from the chaos and fear of the Age of Ruin. So, what do you guys think about the Age of Ruin? I think it was a really dark period in the history of our world, but the humans were able to overcome with the leadership of Steve. And to continue on with the lore just a little bit more, Stephen, when he returned to the overworld, he was hailed as a legendary hero, almost a mythical figure of sorts. And he used that status to create the first kingdom in the Respawn Age. So he made the first human nation since the age of the Ancient Builders. And any king needs a good castle to rule from, so he built this one. And that's the backstory, the origin story of this castle here, is that it was built by King Stephen when he returned from the end after defeating the Ender Dragon. So it's the oldest building in our world that's been built since the start of the Respawn Age, which is probably like a couple hundred years, I'd say. Let's take a look at the castle and all the buildings that go along inside of it. We've built most of them here, except this one over here. This is going to be a great hall of some kind, so when you come in the door, it'll be like a hallway down the middle, and there'll be columns on either side, and it'll be in the shape of a cathedral. So these side parts won't come up as much, maybe to about here on both sides, and then the center part will rise up taller. And to make it ruined, we'll probably put like a hole in the roof or something. Most of the walls that we built have fallen in on themselves or collapsed. You can see here where whoever is living in the castle now is trying to rebuild these walls closest to the gatehouse, probably for security reasons, but like this one's long gone, and then this one over here is in really bad shape too. I was thinking about taking tuff and deep slate and sprinkling it down this hill here to show that the walls collapsed and fallen down the side of the cliff. Like this tower here is completely gone. It used to mirror that one over there. This tower, which is of a similar size to that one over there, is in good shape, and this building's still here, but there's a hole in the ceiling. So those are all the major buildings. It kind of sprawls out over this hill. And as I was building, I noticed that this hill has a bunch of holes in it. A bunch of, like there's a cave system that just goes right through this thing and pokes out on like every side. So I was thinking about covering these holes up because it doesn't look too stable. It doesn't look like this would hold up a whole castle with all these holes in it. So I really thought long and hard about covering them all up. But then I thought maybe these holes could add to the lore a little bit. I think Steve was really focused on mining stuff. And maybe even during the Age of Ruin, he was born in the mines. Because he couldn't go out to the surface because of the plague and the Endermen. So he might have been born in the mines, and it's something that's been important to him his entire life. So I was thinking this hole over here that goes down into the caves, I was thinking this would have been like a mine shaft originally. Maybe there was like a wooden staircase that went down for miners to go into this hill and mine all the precious metals in here. But the wood is rotten away over time. But that's why there's so many holes in the side of this cliff, is because it's been mined out, and this is one of the most valuable mines in all of the land, so he put his castle on top of it. I think that's a good backstory, and just adds to the overall lore of the castle. I was really wondering about who could be living here today. In the present day where we're building our world, who lives here? And how did it become ruined? So I think, Steve lived a long time, had a nice long reign, but upon his death, his kingdom split amongst his sons. And medieval sons, often fought each other and battled for control. So his sons fought each other, their sons fought each other, their grandsons fought each other, and eventually this castle was lost, and this land around the spawn area became disputed land. So there's no king that rules over this area here around the spawn lake. So the people who live here now, I was thinking it was going to be a mercenary group. It was common during the medieval ages for there to be mercenary groups or like armies for hire, where a king would pay some gold and then you would come fight in his war. And that's what the people who live here, that's what they do. So it's a group of outlaws and mercenaries living in the once great castle that has now been ruined. So I think we'll fill up the interior of this place. We'll put like tents in here, and then we'll fill up the interiors with rooms and stuff that kind of go along with a mercenary or outlaw band. Like, we may put some tarps over the holes in the roofs and stuff to show that they've moved in and kind of are working on making this their home. Overall, really liked how it's turned out. We still got a lot of work to do. We got to do all the interiors for these buildings. I do want to add a bunch of tents and stuff. Maybe add like a few practice yards where you can practice with a sword or practice with a bow. And then we have to build the Great Hall, which is also going to be, hopefully, look cool in the end. If y'all guys have any good ideas on what can go inside of these buildings, let me know. I was thinking, obviously this main tower back there, that's where King Steve used to have his own personal quarters, because that's the inner keep. I was thinking this could be a chapel of some kind, maybe the first religion that was formed in the Respawn Age. Maybe this is one of the first chapels in the world. I don't know what that tower's for. Maybe just rooms. But I was thinking this room could be the throne room, and also the room where the Ender Dragon egg was originally housed. Like, so he killed the Ender Dragon, brought the egg back, and put it on like a display here. So I was thinking I was going to build the display, but not have the Ender Dragon egg here. I think the Ender Dragon egg is like a symbol of legitimacy. Like, since King Stephen had it, and he ruled over all the humans, whoever has the Ender Dragon egg is kind of like the top dog. So it's often been fought over, and it's no longer here. But I yapped through the entire day, so I'll stop now and I'll probably end up the episode. There's one more thing that I wanted to do. The entire time I was building this castle, I was looking over here at this floating island with a birch tree on it, and couldn't wait to get over here and tear it all down. I think eventually, one day I might build some terraforming projects, like a mountain or something, but as of now, I have no plans to do any of that. The only terraforming that I'll do is like tearing down stuff like this that just doesn't look... Well, these things don't look realistic or look good. But that's going to do it for today's episode. We got the castle almost completely built up there on the top of the hill. We still have to build the Great Hall, and then we also have to go in and decorate all the interiors. So if you do have any ideas about what to put inside of the castle that'll make it come to life and it'll fit in with the lore and everything, leave a comment in the comments section down below. But we can get into the comment of the day now. Bro finally remembered his password. Yeah, my bad. The episode before last came out in late April. And then the last episode came out in August. So there was like a 3-month break of no videos from me. And it definitely wasn't intentional. I just got really busy. My actual job keeps me pretty busy during the summer. And then I also had a lot of other things going on. I just couldn't find any time to record. I did find time to do some work, though. Like, I planned out the entire castle out there in creative mode. And then digging out and building up the library last episode took me a lot longer than I thought it would. Like, I actually started working on the last video in May and didn't finish until August. So there was a lot of heavy lifting behind the scenes and stuff. Definitely didn't mean for it to be that long. I think next year I'll probably try to make a video or two in advance so I can have something to release during the summer, just in case I don't actually have any time to record again. But yeah, This is just a hobby, but I don't think I'll ever stop. I did make this the forever world. So I'm going to keep on playing on here forever, and hopefully the videos will become a little bit more regular now. At least a couple a month. Thank you for watching. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for sticking around. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.